Alright, what we're going to talk about today are solving quadratic equations by factoring. So just a quick recap of factoring. Whenever you're factoring, you want to start with the GCF. After you've done the GCF, if there is one, then if it has two terms, you're going to look to see if it's a difference. And remember, difference means subtract. Difference of squares. And remember, you make one a negative, one set a positive, and then do the perfect squares in each one. If it has three terms, you're going to do either the guess and check or the grouping. I prefer grouping, but it's up to you. But if it's easy numbers, you can definitely do guess and check. If it has four terms, you're going to do grouping in order to factor. So I just did a couple here so you can look to see. So for this first one, I would definitely do the GCF first, and you're going to have 49 minus y squared. It's even, so we know it's a perfect square. 49 is going to break up to 7 and 7, and then y squared is going to take to y and y. Make sure one set has a positive, the other set has a negative, and then don't forget to bring your GCF down. Alright, this one has 1, 2, 3 terms, so we can either do guess and check or grouping. And then for this one, I did a times c, so I got negative 60, but it has to add to equal positive 7. So what I did is I said 12 and negative 5 would multiply to give you that, but combine to give you that. So I broke that up into 12a minus 5a, and then I brought the rest down. Now I'm going to factor these. Do the GCF of these two is 2a, and whatever is left over is a plus 6. Now I'm looking here. I know the GCF is going to be negative 5, and what's left over is a plus 6. Now if you did this correctly, these two should be the same, and then whatever is outside is going to go here. Alright, now here, this is for number 7, even. Since this is even, we know we can take the perfect square of it. So this will square root of 4, so you basically divide that into 2. You got x squared, and then you've got minus 1, so you go minus 1 plus 1. Well, if you notice, this is another difference of squares. So you can break that down even more to x plus 1 and x minus 1. And then this guy, you can just bring down. So always look to make sure it's your perfect difference of squares is always simplified. Alright, for this one, we've got 4 terms here. So since we have 4 terms, I'm definitely going to do grouping. And I'm going to first look, there's no GCF I can take out, but I can group these two. And I'm going to take out 5x, and what's left over is 7y minus 1. And then looking here, I'm going to take out the GCF, and then what's left over is 7y minus 1. So remember, make sure you change that sign when you're doing that. And then also, if you did this correctly, what's inside the parentheses should be the same, and then what's outside the parentheses should go here. Alright, last on this one is, again, I'm going to do a times c, and I did my little x game over here. So take out, they all have 5 in common. So let's look. Let's take 5 out first. I'm left with x squared plus 4x plus 4. And now, since I've got 1 times 4, I've got 4 here. And then it needs to add to be 4 down here. So I'm going to go with 2 and 2. So that's going to go 5 times x plus 2 plus x plus 2, or you could write it like that. Either way is fine. Alright, so you're going to go through, you're going to finish these, determining which method would be best. Alright, now we're going to solve quadratics by factoring. So again, you're going to set everything equal to 0, so you're going to move everything to this side. So what we did here was we subtracted 3, and then we ended up getting this equal to 0. Now that we've got this to 0, now we can start breaking it apart and factoring it. So how you choose to do it is up to you, but in this case, I would do 1x. So since this is 1x, you could do your x method, however you want to do, but I ended up getting 4x squared plus 4x and negative 3x plus 3, because this went there. and then 4 times 3 is 12. All right, so now we can go ahead and group. Now remember, you can take out negative 1 here, and so I'm going to take 4x out of here, and what's left over is x plus 1. I'm going to take negative 3 out here, or 3 because we already have negative, and then what's left over is x plus 1. Now put these together and put this together and equal it to 0. Set them both equal to 0, and it's OR. So you're setting each thing equal to 0 and solve for x. So your solutions could be this or that. All right, so let's go ahead, let's get started here. Now this is pretty easy because it's already set equal to 0. So we're just going to take this part, equal that to 0, take this part, equal it to 0, and then subtract 1 and divide by 4, and then you get x equals negative 1/4. So here you're going to add 2 and then divide by 3, and x equals 2/3. So your answer is negative 1/4 or 2/3. Now for this guy, don't forget GCF. So we can actually factor out an x beforehand. And then now I'm going to set this equal to 0, and I'm going to set this equal to 0. And when you solve, you're going to get x equals 0 or x equals negative 3. All right, I want you to try that one. And then here we have a difference of squares. Now you can solve this a different way. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But if we're to set this equal to 0, I need to subtract 1, and I get 36x squared minus 1 equals 0. Well, now we have a difference of squares. So your 36x squared goes 6x times 6x, and your minus 1, and you have a minus 1 and a plus 1. And then now set each one equal to 0. And add 1, and then divide by 6. Same thing here, but we subtract 1, and then divide by 6. So you get x equals 1/6 or x equals negative 1/6. Now this one looks a little crazy. It's not too bad though, it's just extra steps. But in this case, since it's 3 terms, it is already set equal to 0, so I'm just going to use grouping or your x method, whichever way you prefer. But I did a times c, which is negative 30, and that's got to equal 13. So I said 15 and negative 2 works. So now we're going to do grouping, factor out 5x. I've got x plus 3 left over. Here I'm going to factor out a negative 2 with x plus 3 left over. Don't forget, equal to 0. All right, so what's outside will go here, and what's inside should be the same, and that will go here. Set them each equal to 0. Now, add 2 and divide by 5. You got, and then subtract 3, and you have x equals 2/5 or x equals negative 3. Go ahead, and I want you to try that one. All right, so now you can also work backwards. If you're given the solutions, you can work backwards to figure out what the original problem was. So what you're going to do is write the factor for each solution, and then you're going to multiply or simplify the factors in standard form. So that's your ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. No fractions or decimals are allowed, and that's called the quadratic equation. So when you're doing this, just be careful that you're doing the opposite. So if your answers are negative 5 and 6, you're going to set them. So starting here, we have to add 5 and set that equal to 0. And then we're going to, subtract 6. And that's where we got that from, and that's equal to 0. So now we're working backwards, because before one of the last steps were to equal it to 0 to solve. Now we're going to take this part and we're going to put them in parentheses. So this goes here, this goes here, and we're multiplying them. So you're going to be distributing and then combine any like terms. And so you should have x squared minus 1x minus 30 equals 0. And this is your original equation to get those answers. All right, now let's look at this one because we have a fraction here. So you're still going to do the same thing. You're going to set each part equal to x, and then you want to set it equal to 0. So to set this equal to 0, I have to add 1/3, and I got x plus 1/3 equals 0. Now remember we said no fractions or decimals. So we're going to look at the denominator here. We're going to try to clear the fraction by multiplying everything by 3. So that's going to give us 3x plus 3 over 3, which equals 1, plus 0. And then now once you got that, now we can go back over here and subtract 2 from both sides. All right, now we have this part, which is going to go here in this set of parentheses. We have this part, which is going to go here in this set of parentheses. And now distribute. So we're going to get 3x squared minus 6x plus 1x minus 2. Combine your like terms, and then this is your quadratic equation. Alright, so just be very careful. I did do this one also for you. I got it set up because you have 2/3. And remember, you have to subtract 2/3 to get x minus 2/3 equals 0. And in this case, like I said, look at the denominator. We're going to clear that fraction, and you'll get 3x minus 2. So same thing over here. We're going to add 3/4, and you're going to get x plus 3/4 equals 0. So to clear the denominator, since there's no fractions or decimals, we're going to multiply everything by 4. All right, so then you'll get 4x plus 3. Okay, remember, this is going to be your first set of parentheses. This is going to be the second set of parentheses. And then go ahead and distribute. And you should get 12x plus 9x minus 8 minus 6. Combine like terms. And then bring the rest down. So this is your final answer. All right, I want you to try that one. And you do have fractions, so you're definitely going to be looking at that way. All right, and then that is solving quadratic equations by factoring.